This is Dave Graybill, fishingmagician.com. I was given the assignment by the Okanagan Tourism Council to do a video on Rufus Woods Reservoir. It's 51 miles long, and there's so much to see and do. I did it in 2 different sections. I hope you enjoy what you see here. Behind me is Grand Coulee Dam, and that's where Rufus Woods Reservoir ends. In front of the dam is the Highway 155 bridge that leads you down along the shores of Rufus Woods Reservoir. I've now traveled downriver from Grand Coulee Dam on Rufus Woods, and I wanted to show you this location. Seaton's Grove is a very important spot here on the upper reservoir. It's about 6 miles downstream from Grand Coulee Dam. And as you can see, there's a boat ramp here, a vault toilet, and I want to mention that you have to take care on the approaches, and when you're leaving this area, pay attention to the channel markers that are here. But it's a very popular spot for anglers that want to fish all the way down to the net pens. Part of the reason is this is a no-fee launch, and I'm not sure exactly who maintains it, but oftentimes when the fishing is very good in the fall and winter at the net pens, this parking lot will be packed. I like to launch off this gravel shore. There is a concrete strip up there too, and then I carefully round the point and go inside this channel and nose the boat up against the shore to load my passengers. But again, take caution here. There's a shallow bar right off the end of the point there, but you can get into the shore there, and it makes it easy to load your friends into the boat. A fairly short run downstream from Seaton's Grove is an area known as the Buckley Bar. This particular spot has been a favorite of walleye anglers for many years. If it's your first time here, approach the bar cautiously. It comes up shallow, but once you learn your way around, you can fish all around this bar and find good numbers of walleye at times. Another favorite spot of mine on my way down to the net pens is this bay with this basalt rock island in the middle of it. I control all along the shore here, right up to that basalt rock. Caught good numbers of trout in here and the occasional walleye. This buoy marks the mouth of Nispelem Creek. It enters the reservoir above the uppermost net pens. There's an attraction here at this creek mouth to the triploids, and fishing can be good right here above the net pen. On the shoreline here too is a Colville access site that you can fish from, but a tribal access permit and tribal license is required to fish here. Now we've reached the uppermost net pens here on Rufus Woods Reservoir, and this particular net pen is the destination for most boaters here on Rufus Woods. It produces excellent catches of these big triploid rainbow, and fish to 20 pounds are possible here on the reservoir, and fishing right off the edges of these pens is a favorite sight of anglers. Directly across from the upper net pens is the Nispelem Bar. This cobblestone bottom is very attractive to walleye, and it's an excellent place to either troll or jig for these prized fish. Now we've reached the middle net pens, and this is another one owned by Pacific Seafoods. They operate 3 of these pens on Rufus Woods and raise triploid rainbow trout for commercial markets and restaurants. You may be able to hear in the background that rattling, and that is the sound of the feed being delivered to the pens. And these fish grow fast. On the shore, that strip of beach is extremely popular with anglers. You are able to fish from this site with just a Washington State fishing license. However, you do need to have a Colville access permit. You'll notice here too, there's a very good boat ramp and dock. And there is a launch fee as well. Up above the boat launch, there is a great RV park that is extremely popular with anglers. Many of them have extended stays at this very nice park. I've now arrived at the 3rd set of net pens here on Rufus Woods Reservoir. All 3 of these are operated by Pacific Seafoods and all raise the triploid rainbow trout. This one is the lowest downstream on Rufus Woods, and I'm not sure what it is. It might be the bottom structure here or whatever, but it's the least favorite fishing spot of the 3 different net pens here on the reservoir. Hello again, Dave Graybill, fishamagician.com. Today I'm at the State Park, which is just above Chief Joseph Dam. This is a great facility. There's 520 acres within the park boundaries. There's 700 feet of shoreline along Rufus Woods Reservoir that you can access through this state park. There's 18 acres of lawn with some great shady areas, and it's very popular, of course, in the summer. And you can see behind me a lot of people are launching either their fishing boats or recreational boats to head up the reservoir and claim a beach for the day. Rufus Woods is extremely popular with anglers. Very good reason is that the Colville tribe releases between 40 and 50,000 triploided rainbow into the reservoir every year. When the tribe makes these big releases, usually in the early spring, the fish average 1.5 pounds to 2 pounds maybe, but they grow fast. The state record for Rufus Woods Reservoir is 29 pounds, 6 ounces. Now, you can't expect to catch one of those every day, and certainly a lot of people are out here trying. But fish to 10 to 12 pounds are no big deal. I've had fish to 20 pounds in my boat, and these fish are really admired for their quality when they come out of the smoker. And they catch them right above the dam here, all the way up to just below Grand Coulee Dam. Today I'm going to take you on a tour of this section of the reservoir and show you the access points and some of the better fishing spots at this end. So come along and join me for an exploratory day on Rufus Woods Reservoir. Now we've run a short distance down the reservoir toward the dam, and what I'm showing you here is the Corps of Engineers access point and boat launch. It's a great boat launch, lots of parking, there's a vault toilet here, great dock, And another thing about it is in this area, they have a lot of really good shore access points with picnic tables and fire rings and that sort of thing. And in the distance, you can see this barrier, and anglers call that the can line. And it's a popular area to fish along it for the big trout here in Rufus Woods Reservoir. Also below me, you can see this power line tower, and there's a public access right below that, and another one further downstream inside the barrier. Many times when I launch down here at the Corps of Engineers dock, I don't even start my big motor. I put my Minn Kota down and start trolling along this shoreline. We've had pretty good success fishing for the triploids along here, and we're usually trolling lures, flies, dodgers with a variety of lures behind them. A lot of people like to troll something like a wedding ring spinner or other types of spinners and lures, and often tip them with a piece of nightcrawler. Here you can see several boats and a large group have claimed their own beach here down at the bottom end of Rufus Woods. It's a great place to play in the water on a hot summer day. Not far up the eastern shore, you'll see this point protruding out into the reservoir with a pump house that's pretty easy to spot. It's not only a great place to fish from shore, and there are some other spots that are accessed by the road just above it, but also I wanted to point out just above that point, there is a big shallow shelf, and you'll want to take caution when you approach that. There is a buoy, and you can see the shallow rock island. But your first warning is the pump house on the point. Here is a closer view of that warning buoy for this shallow reef, and you can get a better view of the island here. Actually, the fishing right below that, there's a good drop off, so it can be a good fishing spot, but approach with caution. The large white side on this large pump house is easy to spot when you're running up the west shore of the lake. Also, one of my favorite spots to start fishing for triploids. This shoreline here is loaded with large boulders and rock, and these fish like to hide out among them and pounce on unsuspecting bait fish and also the crawdads that inhabit this reservoir. Crawdads are a primary source of protein for these fish. One of the reasons they get very large even when they're a distance from the net pens. As you make your way up the reservoir, you will notice that there are these large structures which are pumps out a distance from shore. It's my belief that these were installed by the Corps of Engineers as mitigation when they raised the level of the water here in the reservoir. And what they do is irrigate the shorelines nearby to replace habitat lost when the dam was constructed. Here's a fishing boat trolling one of their favorite stretches of the shoreline up here. Perhaps they find fish attracted to this area due to the outflow of fresh water just above it. About 6 miles up the eastern shore of Rufus Woods is a federal park called Brandt's Landing. This is a very popular spot for anglers, particularly in the wintertime, as there are several access points. You can see this one in the distance with a vault toilet right behind it, but there are several others that lead right down to the water's edge, and many of them have a fire ring or a pit toilet or in garbage cans. So they're great spots to spend a winter morning or afternoon up here fishing for these big triploids. And success can be very good at times from these spots. Some distance above Brandt's Landing, boaters should be aware that there is a shallow reef that's marked by a buoy. It's on the eastern shore. You'll also notice that above the buoy is a goose nesting spot and also some large rocks, so it helps identify that spot. What we're looking at here is Lone Pine Island. This is an important landmark on the reservoir in that it's about halfway between the dam and the net pins. Not all the way up to Grand Coulee, but the net pins. So a lot of boaters that are navigating the reservoir use this landmark to estimate the amount of time they are away from their launch at the bottom end. It's not unusual for people to leave the Corps of Engineers launch site there above Chief Joseph and run all the way up to the net pins. It's not a bad drive, but even in the winter, they're doing it, and sometimes returning against the wind can make it a chilly proposition. This bay that's above Lone Pine Island and below the middle net pins is a favorite of mine. This is where I caught my first really big triploid. When we landed the fish, we ran down to Brewster. A friend of mine had a grocery store there at the time, and he put it on the scale for us, and it weighed 16 pounds. This is cattle country up here along Rufus Woods Reservoir. And these guys knew where to come to get a cool drink. Well, I think I did it. Rufus Woods from top to bottom, starting at Grand Coulee Dam and going all the way down to Chief Joseph Dam. What a great project. I want to thank Okanogan County Tourism for giving me the opportunity to capture this terrific reservoir, not only known for great fishing, but good recreational boating. The scenery's amazing. There's so many great little bays and coves that people can claim as their own for a day on the water. And it's just another one of the terrific assets here in Okanogan County. I hope you enjoyed this one. I've done many more on a great variety of water that's available to anglers here. And if you want to learn more about the other fishing waters, other recreational opportunities, adventures, and amenities here in Okanogan County, log on to OkanoganCountry.com.